Hey, everybody, welcome. So glad you could join me today. This is a good one. We've got a good one today on this. What is it? September 30th? There we go. 2024, almost a new month. And we'll be in for an October surprise. Am I right? We're at Coffee and Nuance. We're streaming live right now on Rumble. I see somebody's live on Rumble. What's up? Also on YouTube and on X. Just a reminder, we are on the road to 420 followers on Rumble. We're at 313 right now. So if you're not following, please do. I think you're going to like today's show. And what is today's show? We are talking about AI is now coming for podcasting. Let's see if I'll do this right. Look. Oh, I'll get my graphic right. There we go. Hot coffee. Anywho, have you guys heard about this new AI tool from Google? It's called Notebook LM. That's right, Notebook LM. Because everything's an acronym now. You can't have a name anymore without sounding like a government agency or a new antidepressant. This one's actually pretty cool. You feed it your research notes, articles, PDFs, your high school diary entry, and it spits out a podcast. That's right, folks. AI is now making podcasts. So congratulations. If you thought being a podcaster was the last low bar in the content world, even that's being taken over. I mean, come on. We're making a podcast. Used to be the millennial version of I'm starting a band. It was the thing you did when... take my watch off, bugging me here. It's the thing you did when you had some opinions and a microphone. Now AI is saying, step aside. I got this. Here's the kicker. It's good, like really, really good. I tried it on an article that I wrote, which I'll play in a few minutes, and it gave me this clean conversational summary. It was like listening to a real polished NPR segment, including the self-righteous pauses. Let's be real here. This is AI we're talking about, right? AI doesn't just stop at making podcasts or summarizing articles. Oh, no. It's writing scripts, generating music, creating art. This thing could eventually host The Tonight Show, and for all we know, become the next guest on its own couch. Now, on one hand, this is amazing. The amount of creative stuff AI can do is endless. It can whip up a study guide, design an album cover, write your best man speech. There's a catch, right? It's a big one. If AI can do all these things and do them well, where does that leave us? If AI isn't knocking on the door of creativity, it's moving in, taking over, not even paying rent. I mean, think about it. First it was factory jobs. Then it was the service industry. Now AI is coming for creatives, writers, designers, musicians. Boom. Gone. Jobs gone faster than you can say ChatGPT. Pretty soon your favorite band won't even have real people. It'll be just a bunch of algorithms and skinny jeans. So what happens when millions of jobs go the way of the fax machine? Now, I know some people are like, but Tom, AI is just a tool. It helps us. It enhances our abilities. Yeah. So one day we wake up and all our abilities are enhanced right out the door. We're all just sitting in our homes, streaming Rumble on repeat with AI. While AI handles everything from grocery lists to tax returns, you'll be out of work. Here's the scariest part. No one knows what the hell to do about it. Seriously. Every politician is like, we need to have a conversation about AI. Yeah, we should have that conversation. But instead, what do? They're, let's regulate TikTok, I guess, right? Meanwhile, AI's out here snatching up jobs faster than Amazon Prime delivers to your house. So let me leave you with this thought. AI is going to change the world in ways we can't even fathom. And sure, it's fun and it's cool and it makes us a little podcast or write our next bestseller maybe, but What happens when we're all out of work? Listening to AI hosted podcasts about how we lost our jobs. It's AI. When AI finally takes over our jobs, don't worry. We'll have a front row seat to the robot revolution. And guess who will be covering it? That's right, another AI, reporting live from the job it just stole. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffee Nuance Show, least watched, censored commentary news show live right now. Flame on. So this is really crazy stuff here. I'm talking about this Notebook LM, and it's an AI-powered tool from Google, and it's designed to help users organize and analyze their research material. So I tried it, right? And you upload documents such like a PDF, text file, Google Doc, web link. You create your own personal notebook, and AI can summarize, answer questions about, link key points together, does everything. It can make a little study guide, give you a quiz. It's unreal. Make an FAQ, right? Do a timeline, table of content, style overview of all the material, just based on what you provide. So it's only based on what you provide. One of the crazy features, and I'm going to play it here in just a minute, is this audio overview, when it creates a short podcast style summary of your research, complete with AI generated hosts presenting this information in a conversational tone. And while it's still experimental, right? It's a really powerful tool for compiling and understanding complex topics, from academic projects to professional reports. So I did a video last week on this idea that I had and that I named, which was nuts, right? It was the sacred cow of certainty is what I called this thing. It was the sacred cow of certainty. And it was just an idea that I had. And I wrote a paper on it for myself, right? So it's just like one page about the sacred cow of certainty. Actually, let me see if I can see on my desktop here. So, I just wrote an article. It's literally just about 2 pages. Okay. Double spaced. And I tried to present to you, just because it was my idea, what this sacred cow of certainty, what it meant, right? So I tried to give you my own definition. Well, I had AI, the Notebook LM, make a podcast about it, and I wanted to play it for you now. It's a couple of minutes, so it's several minutes long. But I think that this could really be, this is going to blow your mind. I am not overselling this at all. If you saw my video from Friday about sacred cows of certainty, you're familiar with the topic. And now this podcast is going to talk about it. So let's give it a listen, and then we will talk about AI making podcasts. So let me flip this over here, and here we go.
Ever get that feeling like there are just some things you shouldn't question,
Yeah.
like they're off limits?
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of sacred even?
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're diving into today. The sacred cows of certainty. This source argues that those beliefs we cling to so tightly, those sacred cows, could actually be holding us back.
It's funny because we often see certainty as a strength, right? Like being sure of yourself is a good thing.
Right.
But this source flips that on its head. It's saying that clinging too tightly to those beliefs can really warp how we make decisions. We end up stuck in this echo chamber of confirmation bias.
Now, what's funny is the source is me, right? I probably should have given myself credit in the article that I was giving it, because then it would say, well, according to Tom Coffey, blah, 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 according to Tom Coffey. But they just refer to me as the source.
Yeah, it's like you've got those blinders on. You can only see straight ahead. totally missing the bigger picture.
Exactly. And they use a really interesting example to illustrate this nuclear power.
Okay, so are you pro or anti-nuclear power? Because I'm a little
Okay.
confused.
It's not about picking a side. The point the source is making is that for some people, the very concept of nuclear power is like untouchable. So we don't even have a conversation about it, even if it could offer solutions, especially when we're talking climate change.
I see what you mean. So
Yeah.
it's more about being open to the conversation, even if you don't agree with the premise.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this. What's your sacred cow?
Oh, wow. Putting me on the spot.
We all have them, right?
Yeah.
Those beliefs we're a little scared to even discuss.
That's true.
Yeah.
And this ties into what the source said about echo chambers. We tend to surround ourselves with people who already agree with us.
Right. So those beliefs just get stronger and stronger.
Exactly. It's hard to challenge your own assumptions when you're not exposed to different perspectives.
And it's not just a left versus right thing either.
No, not at all.
We see this everywhere.
Absolutely. And the source gives examples of how both sides fall into this trap.
Yeah, one that really stood out to me was how any mention of regulating the free market immediately gets labeled as socialism.
Yeah.
It's like the conversation ends before it even begins.
Right. And on the other side, you have this unwavering belief in the effectiveness of certain social programs, even when the data might suggest otherwise.
It seems like this clinging to certainty, these sacred cows, it's more than just frustrating debates. It has real consequences.
Absolutely.
So help me understand this. How does clinging to certainty actually harm us? What does that look like practically?
Well, one thing they talk about is how when we look back at history, a lot of progress came from challenging the norms, like those things that everyone just accepted as truth.
Okay, yeah, give me some examples.
Well, they talk about the shift from the geocentric to the heliocentric model of the solar system.
Oh, yeah, like from thinking the Earth was the center of everything to the sun being the center.
Right, exactly. For centuries, people believed that the Earth was the center. And it wasn't just like a hunch or something, it was supported by religious texts. Even what people observed with their own senses seemed to confirm it.
Right. It seemed like common sense.
Exactly. But then you have people like Copernicus and Galileo who start to question that.
Yeah, they were like, no.
Actually, right, they presented evidence for a sun-centered system. And, at first there was a lot of pushback.
Oh, I bet people probably thought they were crazy.
Exactly. But that questioning eventually led to a whole new way of understanding the universe.
Mhm.
It completely revolutionized astronomy.
That's wild when you think about it. Like, imagine being told that everything you thought you knew about the universe was wrong.
Mhm.
I mean, what sacred cows do we have today that'll seem totally ridiculous in the future?
Right. And the source points out this isn't just limited to science. Look at the civil rights movement. For so long, racial segregation was just seen as the norm, and it took people being willing to challenge those deeply ingrained social norms to bring about real change.
Yeah, those conversations were definitely not easy, but so important.
Exactly. And that kind of ties into this quote from the source that really resonated with me. They said, "When curiosity dies, innovation dies with it."
Oof, that's powerful. It's like if we stop being curious about the world, then we stop making progress.
Yeah.
Just stagnate.
That's exactly it. The source is arguing that progress requires some level of discomfort, a willingness to admit that maybe what we believe isn't totally right or complete or even true.
Okay, so let's bring this back down to earth. If we accept this idea that holding on to certainty too tightly can hold us back, what can we actually do about it? How do we break free?
Well, the source actually offers some solutions. They outline a three-pronged approach to what they call dismantling intellectual barriers.
I'll get
The first thing they emphasize is that we need to reframe how we view questioning itself. Instead of seeing it as disrespectful or confrontational, we should see it as essential for a healthy society, even a sign of respect, because it acknowledges that none of us have all the answers.
some more open dialogue, less shutting down conversations before they even start.
Exactly. And that leads to the second point, creating spaces where open debate and inquiry are encouraged.
So not just surrounding ourselves with people who agree with us all the time.
Exactly. It's about seeking out diverse viewpoints, even if they make us uncomfortable, because that's where the real learning happens.
So basically, we need to apply this to everything from our universities to our media to even just our dinner table conversations.
Absolutely. And finally, the third point, which might be the most challenging, is cultivating individual intellectual humility.
Okay, break that down for me. What does intellectual humility even look like in practice? It's like instead of our beliefs being these set in stone things, they're more like, what's the opposite of a sacred cow? I don't even know.
Maybe a work in progress?
Exactly. We have to be open to our understanding of the world changing. to updating our beliefs when we learn new things or hear different perspectives.
Right. The source is saying that intellectual humility isn't about giving up on what you believe in. It's about making those beliefs stronger by really examining them. It's like saying, this is what I think, but I'm open to hearing why I might be wrong.
It's like that saying, strong opinions loosely held. You can be sure of yourself, but also be willing to change your mind when you get new information, which honestly is easier said than done.
It definitely is.
You know, it's funny. I used to think I was super open-minded, like I had it all figured out. But then I had this experience that totally changed my perspective.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, basically, it involved a close friend and this big misunderstanding. And I was so sure I was right, so sure that my version of things was the only version that I completely missed their side of it.
We all have those blind spots.
Right. And it took them actually telling me how hurt they were and explaining their perspective for me to realize how wrong I was. It was humbling, to say the least.
But it sounds like you were able to repair things.
Yeah. And you know what? Once I let go of needing to be right, once I really listened to my friend, it didn't just fix our relationship. It actually helped me understand the whole situation so much better.
It's amazing how that works. As soon as you let go of that need to be right, you open yourself up to so much more.
Totally. And the source makes the point that this applies to everything, not just personal stuff,
Mhm.
but like how we look at scientific discoveries, how we try to solve those big social issues.
And that brings us to the final thought that the source leaves us with. How do we even figure out what our own sacred cows are? You know, those beliefs we don't even realize we're holding on to so tightly.
It's like trying to see your own blind spot. It's almost impossible by yourself.
Exactly. You need to actively try to see things from other people's points of view, to be willing to question even the things you're most certain about, which I know is a big ask.
It is, but it sounds like it's worth it.
The source definitely thinks so. They're saying it's the key to understanding more, to coming up with new ideas, and ultimately to creating a world that's more open and compassionate.
So what's the takeaway here for our listeners? What can they do starting right now?
I'd say start by just being aware that these sacred cows exist in your own life. And the next time you're in a conversation and you get that urge to shut it down, or you hear an idea and you instantly dismiss it, just take a second, take a breath, and ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? What am I so afraid of? It could be that you've stumbled on one of your own sacred cows.
I love that.
Mm.
It's like we can choose to see those moments of discomfort as opportunities to learn and grow
Exactly, instead of threats.
and to become more open-minded, more intellectually humble, like we've been talking about. So deep dive.
So there we go. That is that's crazy. That is crazy. So that was a little podcast that was made about an article that I wrote just for the topic last Friday. And I got to tell you, I think it brought out some points that I didn't even come up with or that I didn't even think of. You know, when I made my video, I talked about, well, how can you how do you know what your own sacred cow is? And I don't know, I probably didn't do a very good job of explaining it, but the female voice in this podcast said, when you find yourself ready to dismiss something outright, maybe that is a sign that could be one of your sacred cows. And I thought it was really interesting. It's hard to call this insight because I know that this is just AI, right? But this is a topic that I came up with last week. I wrote a little article on it. I didn't even publish it. I just wrote it for myself. And then, you know, I had my little script that I did for the show on Friday, just presenting this idea to, I don't know, maybe 24 people, I think, saw the video of just this idea of the sacred cow of certainty. And I just fed that article back into this notebook LM, and it came up with this podcast. And I really think it did a good job. It makes me think that in the future, one of the things, you know, what I could do is when I come up with a big idea and I want to present it, I could feed it in, right? And have it make a little podcast. I could then listen to it, and I might get some better ideas on how to explain my own idea, right? Because I think that this podcast actually had some gems that I hadn't even considered. So I could just preparing for the show, I could feed it back in. I could listen to a podcast so I could better understand my own idea, right? and then maybe I could present a better presentation. You know, I mean, maybe I could just take it and put it into AI and have AI make a better presentation than what I'm doing. That doesn't sound as fun, but you know, right now I'm thinking about it, and it probably could, you know, which is interesting. But I got to tell you, this is really mind blowing for me. And this is the third one I did. I did one. I just grabbed an article from the news, and I just put that article in, and I had it make a little podcast, and it was like maybe 2.5 minutes, but it talked about the article. But then when I put in my own paper, and it was, you know, it came up with this, and I think it was about 8 minutes. But I just thought it was really insightful. Obviously, if you do this again and again, you will kind of see how the gears of the machine work. You kind of understand how they go back and forth. And but honestly, this is probably more insightful than if I were talking to my friend about it, or if I tried to make a podcast about it. Right now, I kind of think this is better than what I could do. Now, it might not be as interesting as me. Maybe people like listening to me, listening to my thoughts on things, but I'm really impressed with what this Notebook LM could do. If anyone's interested in learning how to do it, you can just Google how to do it, or send me a message on Twitter, on X, and I will. I'll send you a link to step by step how to do it. It's pretty simple. But hit me up over on X if you're not able to figure out how to do it, and I can guide you through it. It's pretty easy. Is your mind blown? Is it blown? Because my mind is blown. I think that this is unreal, and the fact that you could then put together a quiz, or think if you were a teacher, right? Now you can take the chapter of the book, put it into this Notebook LM, and say, "Oh, make a quiz, make a podcast about it, make it." This is going to make coming up with material as a teacher so much easier. I think back to when I was a teacher, and I liked coming up with the original thing. But back when I was a teacher, what I did, I would record some books. I taught elementary school. I would record a book myself, and I had a little wine glass, and I would hit, the thing to turn the page, because I had a little listening station in one corner of my room. So kids could go over and grab a book, put on the headphones, and play the cassette tape, right? And read along with the book. And I had different reading groups, and one of the, for the things, I would read the book. I would put together a little quiz about it. I would have maybe some spelling words from the book, because I tried to have the whole thing, work together, be comprehensive. Now it looks like AI can do all this kind of stuff. This is truly amazing what it can do. I'm really blown away. And like I say, that was take one. I just fed in an article that I wrote about my video from Friday, and it made a little podcast about it. I'm blown away by how well it was done. And it does get me thinking about the future. I think AI is going to be able to do just about anything. I would say right now, next year, there will not be a call center job. Every single call center will be AI, because it's going to be a whole lot cheaper than it is to employ people. And the tough thing about what this is going to do to our country, right, and the world, is call centers are great jobs for people that don't have a college education. Maybe they can't be that physical, right? They can't go out and, so if you are, I don't know, there is a fly in my studio, and it's driving me crazy. I was cooking last night. It got a little smoky. I forgot that it was on there. It was smoky. I opened the window without a screen. A fly got in, and it's just been driving me crazy ever since. Anyway, But call center jobs are going to be gone in a year, right? And they're probably going to do a much better job than now. Now you call up somebody, it's really hard to get any information unless it's right on their flow chart. If it's not on their flow chart, the call centers are pretty worthless. But this AI is going to be able to knock it out. And maybe there's 1 million people or 500,000 people in the country that work at call centers. All those jobs gone. This has real repercussions. You know, even if you don't think, oh, this is not going to affect podcasting, maybe, right? Call centers are gone. They're toast. And it's something to think about. I think that this change is coming much quicker than we all realize. So I just wanted to present that to you today. Stick around for the after show. I'll go through all of your comments, but I will be back on Wednesday with a big idea. Hold on. But not only that, I think tomorrow night I'm going to try to do a live stream of the vice presidential debate. So I'm going to try to do a live stream of the vice presidential debate. I don't know if I'll be on both on YouTube, on Rumble. I'm going to try. But if I have any issues on YouTube, I'll have to cut it off because YouTube seems to cut off any time you do a simulcast of somebody else's thing. You know? But if you get in there early, like 15 minutes early, I may have some kind of game that we can play during the vice presidential debate that I think will be a lot of fun. So if you don't have anyone to watch the vice presidential debate with tomorrow, hop online and I think we'll have some fun with that. Anyway, stick around for the after show. I'll be going through all your comments. And if I don't see you tomorrow, I'll be back on Wednesday. Peace. So here we are. Thanks everybody for sticking around. Apothecary John, what's up? Joe Lyman says, let's automate the process, drop a YouTube link, and a podcast will be a reaction video. LOL. Well, that's happening, I'm sure. And this is kind of some fun news for you. You know, last week I told you about this walking video that I put up. This walking Buenos Aires. And thanks everybody for going over and checking that out. But I put that up, and surprise, surprise, as of today, there's over 700 views. So that's what happens. And I had, at the time, I think I had 4 subscribers, and I was able to get over 700 views over the weekend. And now I'm up to like 14 subscribers or something. But 700 views from 4 subscribers. It shows you what can happen if you have a channel that's not being censored. You might be able to get lots of views, you know. So anyway, thanks for everyone for checking that out, because you were able to boost that in the algorithm, and who knows, maybe my walking channel will take off and I'll actually make some money doing this. You know, who knows? But yeah, it would be quite easy to make a reaction video to other videos. Wouldn't be that hard to do. Joe Lyman says, I use AI to write scripts for my channel Unholy History, which I will have to go check out, Joe. Everyone, go check out Unholy History. We launched our 4th video last Thursday and are already over 1,000 views on a video we didn't promote. Well, congratulations to that. I don't think I've had a video on this channel get 1,000 views this year. Rare I even get 100 views. So congratulations, Joe, on that. Check out his channel, Unholy History. What's up, Doug? The best thing about this is that while you can pick out flaws, it is still better than most podcasts, LOL. You know what? I do think that this is better than most podcasts. I really do. Yikes. That's really kind of interesting. Ox says AI writes things that are the average content. It makes realistic human voices, which triggers a bias in us that makes us think it is smarter than it actually is. I think that's well said. And you know what? If you do something in a soothing voice, right, in the NPR voice, you do project onto them that they're smart. Joe says, one thing I find a little irritating is that you can feel the narrow blinders. There is some creativity, but there are guardrails preventing the AI from natural self-reflection. Yeah, that's today. That's what it is right now. But I think there's so much potential here. This is like version 1, right? So let's just see. People selling AI have a job of manipulating people's perception of what they are building so they get more funding. Sam Altman of OpenAI once talked about asking for $7 trillion with a T. I'm not even talking about selling AI or promoting AI or anything. What I'm saying is that this is incredible stuff. And like I say, that idea was mine, right? So I didn't get this from anywhere. It was not making the podcast from the universe. It was making it from the one article that I sent to it. And I'm just finding it really unbelievable. Language models are best at languages, so it helps put my jumbled ideas to read more clearly. Yeah, it is really good at that. I've been enjoying using ChatGPT advanced voice mode to relay ideas with. At first, it's irritated me as it was parroting ideas back to me, but now it's learning how to prompt or ask questions. Yeah. Tim Browser says, so I got to put my glasses on here. You can feed the podcast back into Notebook LM to generate a better second order rendering of the podcast. That's interesting. I may try that. I mean, I think the original podcast, I thought it was pretty good, but that's an idea. You take what it produces, you feed it back into it, and let's see if we can do even better. Interesting idea. My mind is blown. Typical Notebook LM lingo. Haha. I wasn't sure what lingo I should use. Ox says, I prefer taking with human for call centers. I do too. There was a lawsuit where AI gave customer false information and the company was trying to duck responsibility of information they gave the customer. Now, while I believe that that's true, I still think I might, after it's been tested out and you sort through all the issues, I think I'd probably trust AI more than a human being with call center information right now. That's just me. Yeah, but can you do natural off-topic interludes about an annoying fly? LOL. Now, probably not. Not yet. Not yet. Joe says third world nations are going to be the quickest and most affected by AI and automation. I worry many millions will starve. That's true. When I call Xfinity for something, most of the time, and it's funny because now I can pick up, I'm pretty good at picking up accents. So I can tell if they are in Mexico or if they're in the Philippines or wherever, Micronesia or some. But yeah, I think a lot of those jobs could be going away. Now, maybe, a Philippine call center will stick around longer than an American call center. Okay, because they're paying a lot less in the Philippines. So they might hold out for a little bit longer on that. But I think all call center jobs are going to be gone. Ox says, I remember before your results were so suppressed on YouTube, same kind of content used to grow. Yeah, no, I used to grow. And, I talked about Ukraine and Biden a little bit too much. And That put an end to that, didn't it? Yeah. I think humans are also give false information at call centers. 100% true. So that is definitely happening. And I do think that they might be able to run some algorithms and see if, they could have AI review all of the calls to make sure that all of the calls are giving the correct information. And perhaps if there was a call that had the wrong information, they could then call the person back and say, well, we apologize, we gave you the wrong information. We'd like to correct it. I mean, the possibilities here are ridiculous. They're absolutely ridiculous. And this is all happening a lot quicker than we realize, or at least than I realize. So I just wanted to share this with you today, my experiences in making a podcast. If you want to try it and you can't figure it out, just send me a message over on X and I can walk you through it. But it's pretty easy. In fact, if you just go to Notebook LM, just Google Notebook LM, I'm sure you can figure it out. It's good stuff. Anyway, thanks for sticking around today. Remember, I will be doing a live simulcast of the vice presidential debate tomorrow live here on Rumble, YouTube, and on X. I should be on, probably 15 minutes early, and that'll be a lot of fun. And I will be back on Wednesday with a Big Idea Wednesday. So until then, peace. Y'all check it out, Joe.